Welcome to Tell Me Something Good, the podcast where we shine a light on the incredible ways Christ Greensboro is sharing God's boundless love with our community and beyond.
Yeah, that's right. From inspiring mission projects to heartwarming stories of generosity and service, we're here to celebrate the good news happening right here at Christ Greensboro.
I'm Lori Gray.
And I'm Robert Joe. Together we'll dive into the ministries, partnerships, and people that are making a difference every single day.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let us tell you something good.
Good morning, everyone. Hope that you are doing well. My name is Robert, and I'm joined today by...
Crystal Pruitt. I'm the Director of Children's Ministries
Yes.
for Christ Kid or Christ Kid at Heart. Can you give me a big wave?
Waving right now, big wave. As y'all are aware, our friend Lori Gray, LG, is off this week, and she's enjoying her toes in the sand on the coast, and so I thought it would be fun to have our friend Crystal back with us. So welcome back.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here for Tell Me Something Good.
Yes.
So tell me, Robert, what's your something good for this week?
Well, there you go. I'll just go ahead and jump right in. I had the opportunity, and you know this, so I had the opportunity to sit in on, it's the oldest elementary group, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
our 4th and 5th graders.
Okay, so our 4th and 5th grade small group needed a last-minute adult edition. So I got to step in, and it was so fun. So thanks for letting me do that. So the lesson yesterday, and is that lesson throughout the ages, or is it specific to that age group?
Yeah, so kids have like a theme across their small groups, so they're all working towards the same main idea,
Okay.
but just how we approach that with each age group is different. It's developmentally appropriate.
I love it. So with our 4th and 5th grade friends, when I got there yesterday morning, I was a couple minutes late, they were in the process of taking a sheet of paper and drawing a cloud on it. Then they took some biblical, they almost like playing cards, I guess.
Yeah, they were characters.
Oh, there you go.
People, not
Yeah.
characters. Yes, sorry.
Caricatures of people. And they were cutting them out and gluing biblical people that they wanted to say were part of their cloud of witnesses.
Okay.
And so I did not have a sheet of paper, and I honestly didn't really want to cut out anything. So I just
You've
went
been
in with
spending too much time with Pastor Morris, who doesn't like crafts.
yes. I was feeling very comfortable writing names of people that I knew. And so Miss Dale, who was the teacher in that class.
Amazing.
Yes, a big shout out to Miss Dale. So she was talking about how not only is our great cloud of witnesses the people in the Bible, but people that maybe have passed on, or people that are still living, that are in our midst, or people that have been a part of our story. And so she encouraged us not only to cut out pictures of Bible people, but also to write names of people.
Yes.
And so I went ahead and did that part, and on my cloud of witnesses, the first name, and I'm not trying to earn brownie points, but I put KP for Crystal Pruitt. So Crystal and I have shared lots of special time of discussing theology and questions about life and religion and all of the good things. But
Our faith stories.
yeah, and what brought us here. If you ever want to hear
Yes.
how we met,
It's a little bit awkward.
yes.
Destined.
I know, I was going to say Destiny. A good friend of ours actually introduced us before we were both at this church.
Through a text message.
Brittany Morris, if you're listening to this, not a good way to do it. But it was, well, I won't get into that right now. So, Cloud of Witnesses, I have Crystal, and truly the first person I put on there. My confirmation mentor, or here we call them friend in faith, but her name is Glenda, and she's also a member at Christ Now. We were both at my home church. Now we're here. It's really sweet. And those are a couple of my personal people. And then I have on there Rachel Held Evans, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but she has written some great books. And if you know me, I don't read, but when I do, it's good stuff.
It is good stuff. When Robert gives you a book recommendation, you want to pick it up.
That should be my tagline, I guess. And then one that I've found through being a staff person here and really interacting with Morris a lot is Father Richard Rohr. I think he's phenomenal. And then Kate Bowler. So, but that's my cloud of witnesses. And I was just so grateful, again, to be in that space. And that's why I love church work, is like, you know, you think you know what you're going to do. Well, this is just kind of like life in general, I guess. Like, you think you know what you're going to do on a Sunday morning or any given day of the week, and God is nudging you into other parts. And so I'm just so grateful for that. That's my something good. What about you?
So we had, likewise, Bible club yesterday with our third graders. So our third graders here are gifted a Bible. It has their name imprinted in it. And then we do regular meetings, and they have a Bible buddy. And some of our incredible Bible buddies come with them. And the kids just spend the year not learning everything there is to know about the Bible, because are we really ever done? But just jumping into it, like, how do I find scripture in it? How is the Bible arranged? Where can I look when I'm feeling certain ways? Just so they're not intimidated. Because how many of us maybe don't know where to go in our Bibles?
Yeah.
And it is just this great time of community and the kids learning and seeing them eager to open their Bibles. And then when they bring their Bibles to worship with them, and they know, like, how do I start looking for a verse? And I just love it. I love how it changes every time.
Yeah.
So that was professionally. Personally, we had a birthday party on Saturday, which is not my favorite thing. Not recommend birthday parties as a parent. I didn't know that's what I was signing up for. But it was actually really good. I got to see my goddaughters that I haven't seen in several months, and the weather was really warm. And God made me a not social batteries. What am I talking
Butterfly?
about? Not social. My social battery is drained.
Oh.
Solar batteries. Solar batteries. And so the sunshine was just good for my spirit. So it was a good weekend.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah. So we got good things going on at church, too.
Yeah, definitely have some good things going on. We will talk more about this toward the end of the episode, but you are going to be hearing quite a bit about Holy Week, which is, as I probably say every week as we get into it, but I love Holy Week. I love Easter. So we will dive into that more, but this is our last full week before Holy Week starts.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Do you want to talk about well, actually, maybe I'll talk about the first one. You talk about the second one. So the pop-up choir that that will be helping lead worship during our Maundy Thursday service is just around the corner, because again, that's next week. So we are excited to invite you, if you are second grade and up, to sing in our Maundy Thursday pop-up choir. You will meet in the choir room at 6:30 to rehearse the anthem that will be sung, which is In Remembrance, and that service starts at 7. So you'll just be here an hour early. You'll have a great seat, reserved seat in the choir loft. And the only ask, other than arriving at 6 p.m., is that you wear dark clothes.
And I love these opportunities because there are a lot of people who can't weekly commit to being in a choir. But then also, like, for me, when I'm part of seeing these intergenerational groups lead worship, I feel like it really does reflect, like, the whole body of Christ. Because you've got all of these different ages and ability levels and experiences who are coming together to really worship.
So are you going to be singing in the pop-up choir?
Singing is not my gift, Mr. Robert.
Did you answer my question?
I will not be singing.
Okay, fine.
I have told a couple of our church members that the only time I will sing in church, aside from your birthday one time for kids' time, I'm very sorry to anybody who was here that day, is if we need to evacuate the building, I will start singing.
I've never heard you say that before. That's really funny.
That's when I will sing.
Well, similarly, people are like, oh, like something about running or exercise. Not asking me specifically, but they talk about running. I'm like, I only run for a few things. I run for free food, and I run away from ferrets. I'm scared of ferrets.
This is something I did not know about you.
We'll unpack that on our car ride to the conference.
Okay.
That is the pop-up choir, and we hope that you will join us. And if you're not able to sing and be a part of that at 6 p.m., we do hope that you'll be a part of that worship service. And again, we'll talk more about that in just a couple minutes.
I love that one. It's one of my favorites. Another intergenerational opportunity is our Easter Story Walk. It's after Easter, which seems strange as we prepare to celebrate Easter. But I think it's like the story that we're using goes into what happened after Easter morning. It's this really neat book that uses only rocks for the illustration. And it's set up in stations so you can kind of go at your own pace. and whatever stations speak to you or call you into extended time with Christ, like you can spend more time there. Or if there's one that's just not your style, then you can move through that one quickly.
Yeah.
We did something similar, not last year, but the year before, and made Easter rock gardens, kind of. I still have mine in my office.
Yeah.
Miss Lynn has hers sitting out in the waiting space in the office. But I just love how different people connect with the story and how you have these experiences that kind of immerse you into it instead of just sitting back and hearing it too. So if you just walk the stations, it's free. Read the story, engage. If you want to do the craft that is part of it, and when I say craft, y'all, like, I picked this and worked with a small business because it's something that I would want in my house.
Sure.
And it's just this beautiful reminder of what Easter is. So that part is $10 if you want to do the craft, and that's per family. So each family does it together, whether you're a family of 1 or a family of 12, or if you want to go with a couple other families and experience that together, any size group can do it together.
I'm just going to say $10 is a great deal because my McDonald's order, which I will not disclose in public, is more than $10.
Chicken nuggets.
Yes, chicken nuggets, along with other things. For $10 in this day and age, that's a great, and you can keep it for years to come. I am, again, uber sentimental over things, so I'm like, oh, it was really sweet. Like when we did the craft a couple years ago, I not only enjoyed doing it just because it was a beautiful way of reflecting, but I was able to kind of walk alongside and do it with one of our former coworkers who has since left the staff. And that time with her was so sweet. And whenever I look at that little garden, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of time with her. So, yeah, for $10, you can not go to McDonald's once, Robert.
It is on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So you could come to Welcome Wednesday and have dinner, or if you need to do dinner on your own, or after even, the Story Walk will be open starting at 6 p.m. and open until about 7:30 p.m.
Cool. I have a question for you, because this is something that we've talked about in our just side conversations that I feel like might be interesting. So when I was in youth ministry before I was here, one of my main focuses when I was going through some continuing education was how to make my congregation, or not make, but how to incorporate intergenerational experiences into that congregation. I ended up leaving shortly after I finished that continuing education, so I never really got into it. But something that I love about ministry and about what we're doing here specifically is this very intentional intergenerational.
You're getting near my soapbox, Robert.
Okay, let me just push it on out.
There are several of us on staff and leadership committees that are looking towards intergenerational opportunities. It's how we're designed. We have so much to learn from each other. Not just kids learning from adults about what they've learned in their life experiences or the biblical knowledge that they have, but kids also teaching adults like how to be enthusiastic about their faith and not take life so serious. Like all of it is just this beautiful community that I think the early church really did a good job of demonstrating. And my big thing about it is intergenerational ministry is not just all the different ages being in the room together.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Like it is really developing community and relationships. I was doing interviews with some of my Christ kids a couple Wednesdays ago for a training video that I'm working on, and I can't remember even what question I asked, but one of our kids said, like, I really wish I knew more of the adults that were in the room that I eat dinner with on Wednesday. And so trying to promote opportunities for that, like Bible buddies or friends in faith.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. And I think that, like, when I reflect back on my time as a child, teenager, you know, like that time in my life, I can't help but be so grateful for all of the my generation people that really laid the groundwork for me being where I am now. So if we've never met or you've never seen me with short sleeves on, I have a tattoo on my right arm and it says, "May the Lord bless you and keep you." And, you know, it's the blessing that a lot of United Methodist youth groups say at the end of their time together. And it was a really big part of my time in youth group when I was that age. And my point in this whole rambling story is that I wanted this tattoo in general, but I couldn't really settle on a font. I didn't really know what I wanted it to look like. And then I had the idea. I had the idea because I was like, I have been so fortunate to have so many good, kind people show me the love of God, whether I needed it and I knew it, or I didn't know it and I needed it, with all that kind of
God
stuff.
gives us what we need, not what we want.
Yes, and you have told me that many times, and I have to remind myself of
Tell
that.
myself.
But I have 8 different friends / people that I look up to.
Your cloud of witnesses.
My cloud of witnesses. And actually, 3 of the 4 that are personal cloud of witnesses are on my arm, which is really cool that you say that. But I cannot imagine being where I am today in my life, in my faith, in my career, without intergenerational experiences. So I love that we're doing that.
I do too.
Yeah.
And so, for anyone who's listening, never underestimate what you're taking 30 seconds to stop and share and engage with someone on a Sunday morning or Wednesday night or in the grocery store. What kind of impact that might have.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for obliging me on that tangent.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of the grocery store and out in the world, the United Women in Faith have a meeting later this month on April 29th at 7 p.m. And they are having a guest speaker whose name is Connie Holland. She's from the Northern Piedmont District of the Western North Carolina Church. And she is talking about faith in action. And their snippet says, how United Women in Faith impact the lives of women, children, and youth throughout the world, which is so cool. I love that because I really do believe ministry is so much more than just what happens inside of our walls.
Sure.
And there's a quote, maybe you can help me with it.
Okay.
Because I'm going to get it wrong. But it's something about sharing the love of Jesus and when necessary using words.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think it's St. Francis, maybe. It's sharing the gospel at all times and only using words when necessary.
Yes.
It's something along those lines.
Yeah. So how do we take what we love and know and grow in out into the world? Which is really cool because as United Methodists, we're called to follow Jesus not only in worship, but in action, whether that looks like feeding the hungry, welcoming the stranger, caring for creation, working for justice and peace. So the building might be where we're gathered to be nourished or to grow.
Sure.
But the world is where we're sent to serve, which is part of our mission statement at Christ Greensboro too.
It was St. Francis of Assisi.
Look
I
at
just
you
looked
go.
it up. So it says, preach the gospel at all times
Yes.
and when necessary, use words.
That's it.
So yeah, I love that. Faith in action. So again, if you are a lady of the church or have friends that would enjoy being there, we would encourage you to visit our website, christgreensboro.org, and go to our events section. There you can find all the information you need.
It's going to be really good.
All right, what's next? What's up?
I think we have some new opportunities to serve coming up.
Yeah, so I was really excited when reading through the Messenger this week that at the, in the serve section, there was something that said new opportunities to serve. And so I'll just read it for you. It says new opportunities to serve on Sunday mornings. In addition to our front door greeters, there will be an additional 2 more greeter spots on our campus to help with our radical hospitality. This is a great opportunity for families, couples, or best friends, and if you're interested, you can contact our very beloved Lori Gray at the Connection Point desk, or if you don't see her there, you can email her at lgray, A-Y, at christgreensboro.org. And I, as much as I love our intergenerational push and and desire and really commitment to intergenerational experiences, I really appreciate, and I hate that she's not here for me to tell her this to her face, but I really appreciate what Lori and all of our staff and all of our members and guests, but it has to start somewhere, and I appreciate that Lori is dedicated to what we call radical hospitality.
So as United Methodists, we're very connectional, and so there are a couple of people who work for the conference that support children and youth ministries across our conference, so
Yeah.
from here all the way to the mountains. And one of those people came and visited us a couple months ago. And so she's in lots of different churches on Sunday mornings,
Yeah.
supporting, being an extra set of eyes. And when I recapped with her about our Sunday morning after her visit, she said, the hospitality is unlike any other church that I've been at.
Yeah.
So for every person who said hello or made a place for her to sit or served coffee, like every person really does make a difference.
Yeah.
We're all part of that.
And I think that's so encouraging. It's something that we not necessarily need to hear, but like it's good to hear, right? Is that like what you're doing matters,
Yes.
and that you just smiling at someone who walks past you in the gathering space, or like you said, moving over, like making room for people, like these things that you might find to be minuscule or not majorly life changing, like maybe for you they're not, but for the person that you're doing it for,
Yes.
it makes them feel at home.
Yes.
And we want all people to feel like they have a place here. So,
For people to be seen and
Yeah.
known
Yeah.
by those around them.
sure, I totally agree. Well, that is that. Do you want to jump into Holy Week?
Can I do one more shameless
Yeah,
plug
yeah.
for children's
Please do,
ministry?
please do.
Okay, so we have done a lot of work for Family First Sundays,
Yeah.
for kids to have a place in worship, because when they're in worship when they're young, then they see themselves as a part of worship as
Mm-hmm.
they grow. And we want our kids to not be here just when they're kids, but throughout their
Sure.
lives. And so as part of that, we invite families to serve communion together on Sunday mornings, to be greeters. So if you're a family and want to serve on first Sundays of every month, or we've recently added First Sunday Last Note, where kids can sign up to play the last note with either the praise band in the 9 o'clock or Mr. David on the organ at 11 o'clock. It's a really cool opportunity to lead and close out worship.
Yeah. So I think it was you, or you sent it to me from somebody, but there was a video from 2 months ago, or not yesterday, but last month, I guess, of someone playing the last note on the organ, and it was really fun to get to share that on social media and just, see the interactions that it got on our pages. So
Yeah. Calling all Christ kids.
I love it. I love it. And so if there's a parent or grandparent or adult that's listening and their Christ kid wants to get involved, how do they sign up?
They can email me if they get the newsletter. There's also a direct link in there where they can click and sign up on the Sign Up Genius and get those scheduled out.
Perfect. All right. I love the shameless plug. There's no shame in
Sorry.
that. No.
Back to Holy Week.
So we are so excited that you might even be considering joining us for Holy Week. It is such a special time, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face, or until the cows come home, or until they kick me off the air, whatever it is. I don't think that you can fully experience the joy of Easter morning and the miracle and the awestruck wonder, whatever you want to call it, without being a part of the rest of the week. And so this is our encouragement. This is no shame. There's no shame in the game. But this is my encouragement to you, Crystal. Just kidding. This is my encouragement to be as present as you can be for these things.
Yeah.
So we start with Palm Sunday. It's also known as Passion Sunday. And I think, again, we at Christ Greensboro do a good job of really leaning into the passion part of Palm Passion Sunday because, there's other churches, no hate, that don't really lean into the passion part as much because the palm part is really
It's pretty.
and it's happy. But I love that we start with the waving of palm branches and we talk about what that triumphant entry means. And then we look toward, but it's also like looking toward the darkest week in history, right? Like the moment where God's son was killed and all that kind of stuff. And so, wow, that got really dark real quick. But I love that we have Palm Passion Sunday, and that is our normal 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. services on
If you
Sunday
have
mornings.
kids, they can help with the Palm Processional.
Yeah.
For 9 o'clock, join us at 8:45 in the community room, formerly the parlor.
Okay.
For 11 o'clock, meet us in the Art Walk
Okay.
at 10:45.
Yeah.
Yeah, or both.
Or both. We would love to have you for both. So that's Palm Passion Sunday, which is coming up before you know it.
Yeah. And then on Thursday of that week, we have Maundy Thursday. And this will be the first time in a couple of years that we've had Maundy Thursday service again.
Yeah.
So Thursday at 7
p.m.
for that one. That's typically when we hear about the Last Supper and the meaning of why we share in communion with one another. It's going to be good. Pastor Morris is leading that one.
Yeah, and there's a monologue that's attached to that. So since we haven't done that in a while, we're really excited to share that it's going to be kind of a different kind of worship service. It'll still be worship, and like Crystal said, there will be communion, but there will be a monologue that Pastor Morris is, I don't want to say performing, but performing, you know. I'm really excited to see how that goes.
Yeah. And then that leads into Good Friday, where our kids will ask, what's so good about Friday?
Sure. We're adults.
Yeah. Also at 7 o'clock that night, it's such, like, I think kind of what you're saying, like a heavy but very moving service.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's potentially my favorite service. Like, I love Easter Sunday morning. Like, I love the hymns. I like or just music in general. I love the joy, but Good Friday, like our Tenebrae service is so powerful.
It really is. I usually, and by usually I mean always, leave that service with chills. There's just something very sacred about it.
Yeah. I think that it really just, again, like brings to reality what we are looking forward to on Sunday. Not just this praise to praise, but there's all that like suffering in the middle. So after Good Friday, we will not meet on Saturday. Those of us who are on church staff will be resting a bit before Easter Sunday. But Easter Sunday, which is April the 20th, we will meet again to celebrate the resurrection, the holy mystery that is Jesus conquering the grave. And so we will meet at 9 a.m. and at 11 a.m. for our contemporary and our traditional worship services. Before and after those services, I am really excited to invite you to bring a flower from home, a flower from the grocery store, and add it to our flower cross for what we call flowering of the cross, right? Is that what we call it?
Yeah.
Sorry. As soon as I started talking, it left my brain.
Exactly what it is in the name.
Flowering of the cross. And we've done this here for years and years. And last year we had a church member that graciously built us this beautiful, very tall cross. And we had two other members that graciously came in after it was finished and started the process of flowering the cross, so that when you arrived, if you were the first person here at 8:30 on Easter morning, it wouldn't be bare. It would be ready for a photo, and we're really excited to have that again this year. If you do plan on joining us, I will be outside almost all morning, so I can take your family photo. We can email it to you. You can have it as a keepsake for your family. But we are very excited not only to welcome you for Easter morning worship, but we're very excited to have you stand in front of this cross that shows us that new life is there.
Do you know what that kind of reminds me of, Mr. Robert?
What's that?
The great cloud of witnesses that you started us with.
Yeah.
How there's work that's done before we arrive, starting with the cross.
Yeah.
And how we are all part of building that and making it beautiful.
Yeah. I love that. And how the flower that you bring, whether it's the dandelion you pick off by your mailbox or your prized rose out of your garden, like it adds and makes the cross something that it wouldn't be without it. So I love it. Y'all just have a small little glimpse into what our conversations are like when we're, out and about. So do you want to, in 30 seconds or less, fill everybody in on how we met officially?
So our friend, I went to school with Brittany at UNCG, and Robert was in a youth ministry cohort with Brittany at separate times.
Yes.
7 years apart-ish,
Okay.
without doing lots of time in my head. And so they had met through ministry, and I was in ministry at my previous church, but where I was and where Robert is not that far apart. So Brittany messaged us and was like, hey, I think you two need to know each other. You're both doing youth ministry. And so she texts us and she's like, hey, Robert, this is Crystal. Hey, Crystal, this is Robert. And I think we both awkwardly put like a wave emoji in and never texted again until I found out that Robert was interviewing at Christ Greensboro.
Yeah.
And then I texted him when I found out he got the job. And I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I'm so glad you're coming on the staff.
It is so wild. And I know that Lori and I've talked about this, and you and I've talked about this in our private conversations, but it is so wild to me. And I don't know why it's still this way, but it just baffles me in my mind that like God's goodness has never yet failed us. And so I think back to that funny encounter of her asking me privately, like, hey, do you know where Reedsville is? And I'm like, oh yeah, like, I mean, I don't
Sort of.
I don't like frequent the city, but you know, I go often. I mean, I've been a time or two, and so the friend I was telling you about. So it's just so funny how like you can start with this conversation, and then getting that text from you once I knew I had a job offer was really sweet. And then at the time, Crystal was in a cubicle, I was in a cubicle, and so our cubicles shared a wall. And so it's just so beautiful how God's prevenient grace and just like that little thread that runs through all of our lives has brought us all together. So thank you for spending time with us, Crystal, and dear listener. We are just so grateful that you have made space in your week to listen to us and hear about all the good things that are going on, not only at Christ Greensboro, but out in the world that we are a part of. And so if you have more, or if you have questions or want more information, you can email us at info@christgreensboro.org. We'd be happy to connect you with the right person. We'd also like to invite you to join us on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. in our Fellowship Center for our contemporary worship service, or at 11 a.m. in our beautiful sanctuary for our traditional worship service. Both of those can be found online if you want to check us out before you come visit us. And as always, as Lori would say, we would love for you to stop by and say hello if you are new to our church and you found us through the podcast. We'd love to say hello and put a face with a name.
Yeah.
So until next time, until Holy Week, it is our earnest hope and prayer that you feel so loved and feel seen today, and that you would consider just being a part of our community of faith in whatever way that looks right for you.